Lauren didn't even flinch when I opened the bedroom door. There she was, my wife, tangled in our sheets with another man. His hands on her lips on his, their bodies pressed together like I didn't even exist. For a moment, I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The air in the room felt thick, suffocating, like I had just stepped into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Then, as if finally realizing I was standing there, Lauren turned her head, locking eyes with me. And do you know what she did? She smirked. Not shock, not guilt, just a lazy, unimpressed smirk, like I was some inconvenience ruining her night. You're home early, she said, pulling the sheet over herself, not out of shame, but like she was casually adjusting it for comfort. I clenched my jaw so hard I thought my teeth might crack. My fingers tightened around my phone, the rage inside me boiling over. This wasn't just betrayal. This was humiliation. Ryan, because yes, she had the audacity to moan his damn name while I was standing right there, sat up, looking at me like I was an intruder in my own damn house. Lauren sighed and ran a hand through her hair. Well, I guess the secret's out. The world around me blurred. My chest burned. My vision turned red. And in that moment, I made a decision. This wouldn't end with just a broken heart. This was war. Lauren's words, casual, dismissive, like this was nothing, echoed in my head, igniting something dark and unrelenting inside me. Well, I guess the secret's out. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't panicked. She wasn't even trying to lie her way out of it. She just sat there, next to Ryan, like I had walked in on them watching TV instead of destroying our marriage. I could feel my pulse hammering in my throat. My fists clenched at my sides, my knuckles turning white. Every instinct in me screamed to do something, scream, throw something, rip him out of my bed and beat him into the floor. But I didn't. Instead, I pulled out my phone, flicked to the camera, and snapped a photo. Click. Lauren's eyes widened. What the hell are you doing? Making sure you don't try to gaslight me later, I said, my voice cold. You like to lie, Lauren. But this is undeniable. Ryan finally spoke, his voice laced with irritation instead of guilt. Dude, come on. There's no need for that. I turned my gaze on him, and he had the nerve to look annoyed, like I was overreacting. Like he was the victim here. Tell me, Ryan, I said, my voice eerily calm. Do you have a wife? Something in his face flickered, just for a second. I saw it, hesitation. Regret. Bingo. I let out a bitter laugh. You do, don't you? Lauren groaned. Oh my God, Ethan, don't start. I ignored her. What's her name, Ryan? He hesitated, glancing at Lauren as if she could save him from this. She couldn't. I took a step closer, my phone still in my hand. If you don't tell me, I'll just find out myself. He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his short, dark hair. Emily. Emily, I repeated, rolling the name over my tongue. And does Emily know her husband is screwing another man's wife in his own damn bed? His jaw tightened. No. I nodded, slipping my phone into my pocket. She will soon. Lauren let out a sharp laugh, shaking her head. You're pathetic. What? You think tattling on him is going to make you feel better? I turned to her, taking in the woman I had once loved, the woman I had trusted with everything. She wasn't even trying to apologize. She wasn't ashamed. She was mocking me. And that's when I knew Lauren was a lost cause. I took a deep breath, forcing the burning anger inside me to settle into something colder, sharper. I looked between the two of them, my lips curling into a smirk of my own. You two have fun tonight, I said, stepping back toward the door. Because tomorrow, your lives are going to change. Lauren rolled her eyes. Oh, please. What are you going to do? Cry to your lawyer? I smiled. Something like that. And with that, I walked out. But the night was far from over. I stepped out of the house, the cold night air hitting me like a slap. My body was still buzzing with adrenaline, my thoughts racing. I needed a plan. Lauren thought I'd just crumble. She thought I'd beg, cry, maybe even forgive her like some pathetic fool. Not a chance. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found the number I needed. Ben. My best friend since college, the one guy I knew would have my back no matter what. He picked up on the second ring. Ethan? It's almost midnight, man. What's up? I took a shaky breath. I just caught Lauren cheating. There was a pause. Wish I was. Where are you? He asked, his tone shifting. Are you still in the house? No. I left. Good. Come over. Now. I nodded to myself. I needed a clear head before I did anything reckless. Be there in 10. I got in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ached. I glanced back at the house, the place I had built with Lauren, the place I thought was our home. But now, it was just a crime scene. As I pulled out of the driveway, my phone buzzed. Lauren. I let it ring. Then, a text popped up. Ethan, don't do anything stupid. I barked out a bitter laugh. Stupid? Lauren, you already took care of that. I shoved the phone into the passenger seat and drove off. Ben was waiting for me outside when I pulled up. The moment I stepped out of the car, he took one look at me and shook his head. She really did it, huh? I nodded, the words sticking in my throat. Come inside, he said. You need a drink. I followed him in, collapsing onto his couch as he handed me a glass of whiskey. I downed it in one go, the burn barely registering. Tell me everything, Ben said, leaning forward. I did. From the moment I walked in, to Lauren's smug reaction, to Ryan's pathetic attempt at pretending he wasn't a complete scumbag. By the time I finished, Ben's expression was murderous. That's cold, he muttered. And she didn't even try to deny it? I shook my head. Nope. Just rolled her eyes like I was annoying her. Ben exhaled sharply. You know what you have to do, right? I looked at him. You need to ruin her. I let those words settle. Because he was right. Lauren didn't deserve a tearful goodbye. She didn't deserve an argument. She deserved consequences. I pulled out my phone and opened Facebook. I typed in Emily Carson. A few profiles popped up, but only one matched what I was looking for. A smiling woman, blonde, standing next to Ryan. I tapped message. Me. Hey, Emily. You don't know me, but I just thought you should know your husband is sleeping with my wife. I attached the photo. Ben whistled. Damn. Straight for the jugular. She deserves to know, I said. He walked into my house and disrespected me. I'm just returning the favor. I watched as the message was seen. A minute later, 3 dots appeared. Then, what the hell? Who are you? Me, Ethan, Lauren's husband. I walked in on them tonight. Another long pause. Then, call me. Ben raised an eyebrow. Are you gonna? I smirked. Hell yes. I tapped the call button, and after 2 rings, a frantic voice came through. Tell me everything. So I did. I didn't sugarcoat it. I told her exactly how I found them, how they acted like they didn't care, how they thought they could get away with it. When I finished, there was silence. Then, that son of a she cut herself off, taking a shaky breath. How long? No idea, I admitted. But from the way they acted, this wasn't the first time. Another pause. I want revenge. I smiled. Oh, Emily. You're speaking my language. I have an idea, I said. She listened. And by the time we hung up, one thing was certain now. Lauren and Ryan had no idea what was coming. Emily was all in. The moment we ended the call, I knew she wasn't just going to cry about this, she wanted payback. And so did I. I spent the rest of the night planning. No sleep, no rest, just cold, calculated thinking. Lauren and Ryan had played their little game behind our backs. But now, we were the ones in control. By morning, I had 3 things ready. A meeting with my lawyer. Lauren wasn't walking away from this with a single dime more than she deserved. A plan to humiliate Ryan. His cozy little life was about to crumble. A final move Lauren wouldn't see coming. But first, I needed to see Emily in person. I met her at a coffee shop downtown. She was already there when I arrived, sitting by the window, gripping her cup like it was the only thing keeping her from exploding. When she looked up and saw me, her eyes burned with the same fire I felt. You ready for this? I asked, sliding into the seat across from her. She exhaled sharply. More than ready. I pulled out my phone. I've got proof. Photos, messages, call logs. Everything. Her jaw tightened. So do I. She slid her phone across the table, and I glanced at the screen. Text from Lauren to Ryan. Explicit, shameless, mocking. One stood out. Can't wait to see you again. My husband is so clueless, it's hilarious. I gritted my teeth. Unbelievable. Emily leaned forward. We need to hit them where it hurts. I smirked. Oh, we will. Ryan was a real estate agent. A well-known one. The kind that relied on his reputation to land deals with wealthy clients. The kind that couldn't afford a scandal. So, Emily did what any scorned wife would do. She made sure everyone knew exactly what kind of man he was. She took to social media, posting screenshots of the texts, tagging his company, his clients, even his family. Within hours, it spread like wildfire. Comments flooded in. Wow, Ryan? Seriously? What a fraud. So unprofessional. Who would trust this guy after this? Cheating on your wife and in another man's house? That's low. By lunchtime, Ryan was panicking. He tried calling Emily, she ignored him. Then he tried Lauren. I knew, because I was still in our house when her phone started blowing up. I stood in the kitchen, drinking my coffee, watching as she rolled over in bed, groaning at the endless buzzing. When she finally answered, I could hear Ryan's frantic voice through the speaker. Emily just posted everything. My boss saw it. My clients saw it. What the hell, Lauren? Lauren sat up, rubbing her temples. Relax. It'll blow over. Blow over. I could lose my job. Lauren sighed, clearly irritated. Ryan, I have my own problems. Ethan is acting all weird. He left last night and hasn't come back. I don't know what he's up to. I smirked. Oh, you will soon. She got out of bed and walked into the bathroom, still on the phone. Just chill, okay? No one cares about some dumb scandal. I chuckled under my breath. Oh, Lauren, you underestimate how much people love drama. At noon, I met with my lawyer, David Carter. He was sharp, ruthless, and exactly the kind of person I needed in my corner. After I laid everything out, he leaned back in his chair, adjusting his glasses. You have all the proof you need, he said. We can make sure she gets as little as possible in the divorce. That's the goal, I said. He smirked. Actually, we can do better. I raised an eyebrow. How? Lauren didn't just cheat. She brought another man into your marital home, into your bed. That works in your favor, legally speaking. My grin widened. Perfect. That evening, I came home. Lauren was in the living room, scrolling through her phone. When she saw me, she raised an eyebrow. Well, look who finally decided to show up. I ignored her, walking to the bedroom. She followed. Where the hell have you been? She demanded. And why is Emily blasting Ryan all over the internet? I turned to her, calm, collected. Because she found out the truth. Just like I did. Lauren crossed her arms. So what? Are we doing this? The whole, I'm so hurt thing? Because I don't have the patience for it. I let out a short laugh. Unbelievable. No, Lauren, I said, stepping closer. We're doing the you're about to lose everything thing. Her smirk faltered. What? I pulled out a folder and tossed it onto the bed. Divorce papers. My lawyer already filed them. Her face twisted. Are you serious? Dead serious. She scoffed. You're being dramatic. You'll calm down, and we'll move past this. I shook my head. There is no we, Lauren. Not anymore. For the first time, I saw something flicker in her eyes, fear. I leaned in. And by the way, you might want to check your bank account. She grabbed her phone, opened her banking app, and then her face drained of color. What did you do? She whispered. I smiled. You cheated in our house, Lauren. That means you don't get a damn penny more than you deserve. Her hands shook. You can't do this. I stepped back, watching her crumble. I already did. As I turned to leave, she grabbed my arm. Wait. I pulled free. Goodbye, Lauren. And with that, I walked out. She had made her choices. Now, she would live with them. Lauren sat on the bed, gripping her phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her lips trembled as she scrolled through her bank account, refreshing the page as if expecting some kind of glitch. But the numbers didn't change. The money was gone. I stood by the door, watching her process what had just happened. The woman who had smirked, mocked me, and treated me like a fool was now looking at me with something she had never shown before, genuine panic. Her breathing turned shallow. Where's the money? I tilted my head. It's where it should be. Not in your hands. She shot up from the bed, eyes blazing. You can't do this. That money was ours. I let out a small chuckle. No, Lauren. It was mine. And now it's protected. Her face twisted in rage, but behind it, I could see fear creeping in. She wasn't just worried about the money. She was realizing that her entire little fantasy world was crashing down. The phone slipped from her fingers onto the bed, and for a moment, she just stood there, breathing heavily. Then, suddenly, she let out a bitter laugh. You really think this makes you some kind of winner? She sneered. You think taking my money, my comfort, is going to make you feel better? I stepped closer, keeping my voice calm. No, Lauren. What makes me feel better is knowing you'll finally have to face the consequences of your actions. No more easy life. No more getting away with everything. You wanted to play dirty? Well, you lost. Her jaw clenched. You have no idea what you've just started. I smiled. Neither do you. I turned and walked out, leaving her standing there, drowning in the reality she had created for herself. Outside, the air was crisp, and for the first time in days, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, clarity. But I wasn't done yet. As I stepped into my car, my phone buzzed. Emily. She's losing it, she said as soon as I picked up. I know, I replied. She called Ryan, she continued. Said she needed to meet him right away. I smirked. Of course, she did. Lauren wasn't the type to sit still while everything fell apart. She was the type to scramble, to try and manipulate her way out of the wreckage. And I had a feeling I knew exactly where she was going. I drove without hesitation, heading straight to the hotel Ryan had been staying at ever since Emily threw him out. The place was a typical high-rise business hotel, the kind where men like him hid when they got caught. When I arrived, I parked across the street and waited. It didn't take long. Lauren's car pulled up, and she practically ran inside. I checked my watch. 5 minutes. That's all I needed. Grabbing my phone, I dialed Emily. She's here. Good, she said. I'll be there in 10. I got out of the car and made my way inside, keeping a low profile as I followed Lauren. She was already in the elevator when I stepped into the lobby, but I caught the floor number just before the doors closed, 6th floor. I took the stairs. By the time I reached Ryan's door, my heart was pounding, but not from exertion. From something else. Anticipation. Voices came from inside. I pressed my ear to the door, listening. What do you mean he took the money? That was Lauren. Emily ruined me. My boss suspended me. My clients don't trust me. Do you understand what's happening? That was Ryan, his voice desperate, angry. Lauren groaned. We need to fix this. Fix it. Ryan let out a bitter laugh. Lauren, everything is out in the open. Everyone knows. What do you want me to do? Erase the internet. We can spin it. We just need to. Ryan cut her off. No, we need to survive this. And honestly, I don't think I can do that with you dragging me down. Silence. Then, Lauren's voice, cold and sharp. Excuse me. Ryan sighed. Let's be real, Lauren. This is worse for me than it is for you. I'm the one losing his career. You? You'll just find another guy to leech off. The silence stretched this time, but I could imagine the look on her face. That entitled arrogance melting into disbelief. You're blaming me? She whispered. Ryan didn't hesitate. Yeah, I am. I smiled. Perfect. Just then, the elevator dinged. I turned my head just in time to see Emily step out, her eyes locked on me. I gestured to the door. She nodded. Then, without hesitation, I knocked. Inside, the voices stopped. Seconds later, the door swung open, and Ryan's face went pale. What the? Lauren appeared behind him, and when she saw me, her expression shifted from confusion to dread. Ethan, she breathed. Emily stepped up beside me. Surprise. Lauren's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Ryan looked between us, his brain working overtime to process what was happening. And then, Emily held up her phone. Say cheese. The camera flash went off, capturing the moment Lauren and Ryan caught together in the middle of their downfall. Ryan lunged forward. Are you crazy? Emily didn't flinch. No, but I am petty. Lauren turned to me, desperation creeping into her voice. Ethan, you can't do this. I crossed my arms. Oh, but I can. And then, with a satisfied smirk, I stepped back, letting Emily do what she did best, burn everything to the ground. Lauren's face drained of color as the flash went off, capturing her and Ryan in their moment of desperation. She looked at me, then at Emily, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. Delete that, she finally hissed, stepping toward Emily. Emily smirked, holding up her phone. Not a chance. Ryan, still standing in the doorway, rubbed his temples. Jesus, Lauren, can you shut up for a second? Lauren spun toward him. Excuse me. Ryan let out a harsh laugh, shaking his head. This is over. Everything. Do you get that? The damage is done. He looked at me, then at Emily, before stepping back inside and grabbing his jacket from the chair. I'm not going down with you. Lauren's expression twisted with something between rage and betrayal. You coward. Ryan shrugged. Call it what you want, but I'm done. He pushed past me, brushing against my shoulder as he walked toward the elevator. Lauren turned to follow, but I stepped into her path, blocking the doorway. Move, she snapped. I didn't budge. You still don't get it, do you? I said, my voice calm. This is what happens when you burn every bridge. You're stranded. Lauren's hands clenched into fists. You think you've won? I tilted my head. Haven't I? For the first time since this nightmare began, I saw it, the moment the reality of her situation finally sank in. The arrogance cracked, the confidence wavered, and for just a second, Lauren looked lost. Emily crossed her arms. I wonder how long it'll take before you start begging for help. Lauren's jaw clenched. I don't need anyone. Emily smirked. Good. Because you've got no one left. Lauren exhaled sharply, glaring at me one last time before shoving past Emily and storming down the hall. Emily watched her go before turning to me. She's not done causing problems. I sighed. I know. We left the hotel, stepping into the cool night air. The streets were quieter now, the distant hum of traffic the only sound breaking the silence. Emily leaned against my car, letting out a deep breath. That felt good, she admitted. I chuckled. Yeah, it did. She looked at me then, a small smile tugging at her lips. What now? I glanced at my phone, scrolling through my messages. My lawyer had sent the finalized divorce papers. Everything was set in motion. I exhaled. Now? We finished this. The next morning, I was in my lawyer's office, signing the final set of papers. This locks everything in, he said, handing me a pen. Once she signs, it's done. I nodded, signing my name at the bottom of the page. It felt surreal, knowing that in a matter of days, my marriage would officially be over. As I handed the documents back, my lawyer leaned forward. She's going to fight this. I know, I said. She might try to manipulate the court, claim she's entitled to more than she is. I smirked. Let her try. She has no leverage anymore. He nodded. Just be ready. Women like her don't go down quietly. I left the office feeling lighter than I had in months. But as I stepped outside, my phone buzzed with an incoming call. Lauren. I stared at the screen for a moment before answering. What do you want? Her voice was eerily calm. We need to talk. I scoffed. We really don't. I'll sign the papers, she said quickly. No fighting. No dragging this through court. But I have conditions. I frowned. Of course, you do. Meet me at the house, she said. 1 hour. Then she hung up. I debated ignoring her, but something told me this was a conversation I needed to have. One last time. When I arrived at the house, Lauren was already inside, sitting at the dining table with a glass of wine. At 11 in the morning. She looked up when I entered, her eyes slightly bloodshot. You came. I leaned against the doorway. What do you want? She swirled the wine in her glass, watching the liquid move. I want a clean break. I raised an eyebrow. And her lips pressed together before she sighed. I want some money. I laughed. Of course, you do. She set the glass down with a sharp clink. Don't act like you're better than me, Ethan. I crossed my arms. I don't have to act. I just am. She rolled her eyes. Listen, I'm not stupid. I know I screwed up. But you don't need to leave me with nothing. I stared at her, trying to see if there was even a shred of sincerity in her words. But there wasn't. This wasn't about regret. It was about survival. And I wasn't here to save her. I shook my head. You already took everything from me, Lauren. My trust. My time. My dignity. I exhaled sharply. You're not getting another cent. Her nostrils flared. You think you're punishing me? I met her glare with a cold stare. No, Lauren. I think I'm freeing myself. She scoffed, standing up so fast her chair scraped against the floor. You'll regret this. I smirked. No, I won't. I turned to leave, but her voice stopped me. You were never enough for me. I didn't even flinch. I just glanced over my shoulder. That's funny. Because you were never worth it. And with that, I walked out, shutting the door on Lauren Madison Carter for the last time. The moment I walked out of that house, something in me shifted. It wasn't just relief. It was finality. No more second-guessing. No more wondering if I could have done something differently. Lauren had shown me exactly who she was, and I had finally learned to believe her. But I wasn't naive. Lauren wasn't the type to walk away quietly. 2 days later, I got my confirmation. I was at my office, going through emails, when my phone buzzed. My lawyer's name flashed on the screen. Ethan, we have a problem, he said the moment I answered. I sighed. Of course we do. She's contesting the divorce settlement. I clenched my jaw. On what grounds? She's claiming emotional distress, loss of financial stability, and he hesitated. And she's accusing you of abandonment and marital neglect. I let out a harsh laugh. You're joking. I wish I was, he said. She's trying to make the case that you neglected her emotionally and financially, which pushed her into the arms of someone else. She wants spousal support. I rubbed my temples. Unbelievable. She's also demanding a portion of your business assets. That made me sit up. She wouldn't dare. She already did, he said. She's coming for everything she can get. I exhaled sharply, gripping my phone. What are our options? We fight, he said simply. We've got the evidence, her affair, her financial records, her lies. But this won't be quick or clean. I closed my eyes for a moment. Lauren was making this war. Then we fight, I said. That evening, I met up with Emily at a quiet cafe downtown. She was scrolling through her phone when I sat down, her expression unreadable. She glanced up. I saw the news. Of course she had. Lauren had wasted no time airing out our business. She had gone to social media, painting herself as the heartbroken, abandoned wife. In her version of the story, I had neglected her, left her feeling unwanted and lonely, forcing her into another man's arms. The comments were infuriating. Poor woman, she deserved better. Men always think they can just throw their wives away. She made a mistake, but he's the one who pushed her to it. Emily tilted her head. How do you want to handle this? I leaned back. I don't want to play her game. Emily smirked. Then let's change the game. I frowned. What do you mean? She slid her phone across the table. We take control of the narrative. I looked at the screen. It was a draft of a post, a detailed breakdown of everything. The affair. The lies. The messages. The financial records. This will blow everything up, she said. It'll put the truth out there. No more playing defense. I exhaled. Do it. She nodded, pressing post. And then we waited. The response was instant. Lauren's victim act shattered within hours. The screenshots spread like wildfire. People turned on her. Well, she really tried to play innocent. She lied about everything. Why do cheaters always act like they're the victims? Lauren went silent. No more posts, no more sob stories. She had been exposed. But I knew better than to think she was done. And I was right. Because the next morning, I woke up to a text from an unknown number. You're going to regret this. I stared at the text for a moment, my grip tightening around my phone. You're going to regret this. Lauren. It had to be. The message wasn't a plea, an apology, or an attempt at reconciliation. It was a threat. And that told me one thing: she was desperate. I exhaled sharply, tossing my phone onto the nightstand. Let her try. She had already lost the battle in the court of public opinion, and legally, she was running out of options. But I wasn't stupid. A cornered animal is the most dangerous. I met with my lawyer that afternoon. He had a thick folder in front of him, flipping through papers. She's still pushing for spousal support, he said. Even with the evidence of her affair, she's trying to claim emotional damages. I scoffed. Emotional damages? From what? Getting caught. She's grasping at straws, he admitted. But she's persistent. I leaned forward. What's our next move? He smiled. We counter. We have enough to push for a misconduct clause. If we go hard, she won't get a cent. I nodded. Do it. His grin widened. Gladly. That night, I got another text. This isn't over. I ignored it. Then came another. You think you won? Watch what happens next. Still, I didn't reply. I had no idea what Lauren was planning, but I knew one thing: it wasn't going to work. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. My phone was buzzing nonstop. Missed calls, texts, notifications blowing up. I groggily reached for my phone, my stomach tightening as I saw the messages. Emily, what the hell did she do? My lawyer, we have a situation. Call me immediately. I sat up, unlocking my phone. And then I saw it. Lauren had gone to the press. She had given an exclusive interview to a gossip site, painting herself as the betrayed wife who had been manipulated, abandoned, and publicly humiliated. She claimed I had emotionally abused her, that I had orchestrated everything to destroy her life. And worse, she had doctored messages to make it look like I had threatened her. My blood ran cold. Emily called before I could even process it. You need to shut this down, she said the moment I answered. I ran a hand through my hair. I know. This is bad, she continued. People are eating this up. Of course, they were. The truth is boring. Lies are entertainment. But what Lauren didn't realize was she just made her last mistake. I met my lawyer later that day. He had already drafted a legal cease and desist. We're going to hit her with defamation, he said. She lied. We prove it. I smirked. Good. Lauren wanted a war? Now she had one. By the next day, my lawyer sent the papers. A lawsuit. Lauren's lies wouldn't just cost her credibility. They'd cost her everything. And just like that, the tide turned again. The truth came out. The screenshots. The unedited messages. Proof that Lauren had fabricated her claims. Public opinion flipped overnight. Lauren's last move had been her worst. And she knew it. Because the next time I saw her, she wasn't fighting. She was begging. I was leaving my office when I saw her. She was waiting by my car, arms crossed, her face paler than usual. I sighed. What do you want, Lauren? She swallowed. You proved your point. I chuckled. Did I? Her lips pressed together. I'll drop everything. I raised an eyebrow. Why would I believe you? Her jaw clenched. Because I can't win. Finally. She understood. I stepped closer. You did this to yourself. She looked away. I know. For the first time, there was no venom, no arrogance. Just defeat. And I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just the need to be done. So I did what she never expected. I walked away. Because this was the real victory. Leaving her in the mess she made. A week later, the divorce was finalized. No spousal support. No settlement. Lauren got nothing. And me? I got my freedom. This was the end. And I was finally at peace.